Hi, my name's Dave and you're listening to episode 77 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, all about scale models. This show is being brought to you through the generous support of our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to help support the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your contributions will help go towards production costs and hosting costs and are greatly appreciated. The Scale Modelers Supply Lacquer Paints are a new and exciting range of paints specifically designed for the scale modeler. SMS paints have been formulated for airbrush use on a variety of scale model mediums, such as plastics, resins, and even metal. Being designed for airbrush use, all the guesswork with thinning ratios has been completely eliminated. All you need to do is give the sturdy glass bottle a good shake and then simply pour and spray. And of course, being an acrylic lacquer, they are tough. Much tougher than water-based paints and are very fast drying, giving you more time at the bench. SMS paints have a massive range of colours to choose from that will suit any scale model, including Gunpla, car, science fiction, aircraft, military, and even trains. And did we mention they also do a variety of weathering products, brushes, tools, and accessories? Go and check out the full range and find your local stockist by typing in scalemodeler.com.au or simply punch in SMS paints to your search engine. And hey, great news if you're in the US and Canada, SMS paints are now available through usagundamstore.com. So give SMS paints a try. I know you'll be happy with the result. And hello and welcome to the show, and g'day Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
And we've got Julian back in the studio.
Yay!
Hello. Woohoo! How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not too bad, yeah.
Over your little fright?
Yeah. Well, it's bound to happen to someone, isn't it?
Well, absolutely it's bound to happen to someone. So what's been happening, guys?
Oh, working on that horrible Canberra.
You still going along on that?
Yeah, I was going along on that. Don't know for how long because the canopy came in from me buffalo, so...
Oh.
It could mean putting the Canberra away for a bit. But I'm a bit worried that if I put the Canberra away, I'm never going to start it again.
So international mail still working?
Yeah, it did, yeah, because that came from England, so it came pretty quickly, usually probably about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that worked out well. Canberra, fuselage halves are together, wheel well. I had to cut the front opening for the wheel well because the resin replacement wheel well is so much deeper that it actually has to sit flush with the outer skin.
Okay.
So I had to cut a big 1mm out of that and then mount that in and fill it full of lead. So it's no longer going to be a tail sitter. Wings are together, engines are on, tailpipes are done. So it's got a matter of sanding and a lot of putty. One of the wings was short shot too. There's a lot of short shots in this kit.
Oh no.
So I've had to put a bit of plastic card in there to make one of the flaps actually match up to the bottom part. It was out by about 1.5 millimeters short on one side. Oh, I'm loving this FX kit.
Yeah.
Not. So so hopefully tomorrow I might be able to get a bit more sanding done to it and hopefully get the wings married up to the fuselage.
Cool. Julian.
I've been buying a few things.
And you've brought them in to show us, and you've brought 4 new kits in.
Yeah, I know.
You've you're really going, I don't know, it's a couple of different directions here. So you've got a Fiat G50.
Yep, so that's the SBS model, 72nd scale Fiat G50 resin kit.
It's a lovely kit.
That is a beautiful kit, huh?
I'm very impressed with it. And
next up is the AMP Models Supermarine S5, which is one of the Schneider Trophy racing planes.
Which has got a really interesting engine, as Ian pointed out. It's got a
W block.
W block, which I've never seen before.
So 3 banks of 4 cylinders.
Yeah.
Two in a V and one straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one is the Armory models, but it's also got Sabotage models written on it. So I'm not too sure who did which is the sort of publisher and which one's the developer or whatever. But it's a SA-22 Greyhound. It's like a Russian truck thing with a anti-air turret on the back of it. 72nd scale. It's like a 35th scale kit in 72nd scale. It's that detailed.
It's chockers full of detail, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
The mouldings are absolutely exquisite.
Yeah.
I'd be intrigued to see how it goes together, where it goes together, as well as the detail in the model in the plastic indicates.
Yeah, it's really complicated. It's the kind of thing where, like, if you get something sort of out of alignment by like a fraction of a millimeter,
You're in trouble.
It'll throw everything off, and then you end up with this wonky looking thing at the end. And then the one I'm currently working on is the Dora Wings MB-152.
The Marcel Bloch.
Yeah, it's a Frenchy plane.
Yeah,
48 scale.
Yeah, that's been interesting to build.
So what are you painting up in the Vichy French markings?
No, I don't like the Vichy French
You don't
markings.
like the yellow and red?
No, it's so loud. It's way too loud. No, it looks like a clown. Like if you took the clown out of the clown car, you put him in a plane. That's the kind of plane.
Plane he's gonna fly.
Yeah. It's got red and yellow, stripes all the way around the cowl and everything. Nah, that's too much for me.
I quite like that look, actually, because visually it's something different and more than just the old camouflage sort of scheme.
I love Larry paint schemes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once you've seen like one Vichy French thing, you've seen them all because they've all got that same colours to it.
Yeah.
Just plastered all over it.
Yeah, but you don't see too many Vichy French models, though, do you, really? I mean, I'm just struggling to think back on some of the model shows I've been to. You don't come across them that often.
No.
So they have to be French planes to start off with, right?
Well, yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, I noticed on one of your posters behind you, Dave, you've got a Moran Slonier. Oh, no, it's a D110 D520.
Yep.
In Vichy French markings.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have built one of those.
Yeah.
The Tamir kit.
That's quite an eclectic mix of models you've got there, Julian, though. There's no real sort of one sort of theme you got going there. It's you're all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I have an interest in Italian planes.
Yep.
And that's starting to spread to French planes because they're starting to get kitted now.
Oh, but the camouflage pattern for the Italian planes just scares the heck out of me.
Oh, yeah, those tortoise-style paint schemes.
Yeah, they're all over the place, aren't they?
They absolutely are.
I'll tell you what.
They're painted with passion.
Painted with passion there.
Yes.
Yeah, well, navigating the minefield that is like Italian colours is pretty hard too.
It is, yeah, because their colours are... A lot of people used to use Luftwaffe colours, but they're so different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like... So from what I can tell, you can find some pretty good resources if you're willing to use like Model Master or whatever it is. Some of those other weirdo paint brands that I won't touch. I think Model Master, by the way, I think they went... they got cut off the other day. Yeah, Testers put out an announcement.
I saw that. So Aztec, they're dropping the Aztec line and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they're dropping all the way back to just the Testers brand.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's the Aztec? Well, the Aztecs really, they were a really big thing when they came out, and then they just went quiet. Everyone raved about the Aztecs, and
well, they had the Aztec airbrushes. They were the entry level for a lot of people cut their teeth using those airbrushes.
I tried one out. I just found it really weird to use.
Yeah.
It just felt alien.
Yeah, so the Italian stuff is pretty intimidating. They got a lot of people get into like German aircrafts because of all the modelling and all the different sort of schemes and stuff that they have. But I think the Italian stuff is just another level beyond that. Whether it interests people or not, that's the subject matter is a different thing.
You just want to go late war US Navy, just everything deep sea blue.
Glossy deep sea blue.
Yeah, that's that.
All right, it's all done.
That
one
and
colour.
That and all the all over olive drab. That's another one.
Yep.
It's good. It's simple. It's nice, and there's good weathering opportunities for single color schemes. But the Italian stuff interests me at the moment. Anyway.
Oh, good on you.
So with a couple of these kits, it's really obvious that there's like 3D printing's been involved in the production.
Okay. How so?
Well, you can see the lines, usually in areas that won't get seen, like on the inside of certain like fuselage or something like that. You'll see like the little lines from where it's been 3D printed to make the master or something.
So what they're doing is they're 3D printing the master, cleaning up the master, and then just using that as the...
Yeah. But even then, something like with the Dora Wings kit, on the edges of like the fuselage and stuff, you know, like where they will butt up against each other, the various like parts, there'll be like weird shapes on the end there. So normally, like on a regular kit, you would have like say a bit of a micro bit of flash type thing where the two up the top and bottom molds have come together and left that little thing there.
Yep.
That you have to clean up.
Yeah,
when this, there are some sort of weird shapes on the ends there that you need to flatten off because those are from the 3D printing where they've put it in a certain position to get it to print nicely. Yeah. So once you clean those up and you make them flat, it all goes together.
Yeah.
And it all fits really, really well because it's all designed on CAD, right?
Yeah.
But you just, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, should I get rid of that or shouldn't I? Is that supposed to be there? I don't know. Like, I didn't know. So I just thought, I'll just have to fill it with bog if it isn't supposed to be there. And yeah, I mean, if it is supposed to be there, and it kept on going. And it's got some weird choices for like how it, like they cut the wing root out as a separate piece and you got to glue it onto the fuselage and then remove the seam line. So you got like two seam lines that run down the side of the fuselage that you got to remove.
Ooh, ouch.
I was able to do it, okay. I wouldn't have wanted to attempt this kit like a year ago when I was less capable at removing a seam line like that.
But you got it nutted out anyway.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. There's a few tiny bits of short shot around the edges of, say, the tail wings where they come together. Yeah, because those are fairly thin pieces and I guess the plastic didn't get there or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, it's mostly okay. I wouldn't say it's for a beginner modeler.
No.
But, it's no one else is doing one of these things except for maybe Classic Airframes or something like that, who did one ages ago.
Yep.
And they've got a few more coming.
Of the Marcel blocks?
No, yeah, I think so. Of like various, Frenchy planes. They got like some V12, like non-radial engine type planes that are coming out. And I believe they're doing another one, like an MB700 or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see them do a Westland Pterodactyl.
Well, the next plane that they're bringing, the one that they're bringing out next is the Lancer. Early, like, predecessor to the P-47 type thing,
the Lancer, the P-36, wasn't it?
Is it P? I always forget what the number is for it. Yeah,
P-36,
P something or other, yeah.
Yeah, the Lancer, which was the predecessor to the P-47 Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's their next kit.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah. Yeah, they were actually used, Lancers were used by a lot of the smaller nations in the Pacific campaign.
Yeah, that's all service, absolutely.
I think the RAAF even had one Lancer.
Yeah. They're very squat, sort of tough looking planes.
Oh, they are,
They kind of remind me of the Boomerang.
Yes. They probably don't sound as good as a Boomerang.
No.
Nothing sounds as good as a Boomerang.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
I thought a Corsair would sound really good, but next to a Boomerang, Boomerang sounds better.
Anyway, that's what I've been up to.
Cool.
You've been busy.
Well, I haven't. I've been very quiet.
Yeah, I've been just doing a little bits on Sundays and that's it.
Yeah, I've been
getting prepped for the big closing down of everything, and
work's been keeping me busy. So
same here.
Tapping along.
Surprised I'm still working.
Yeah, well, I have to still work.
Yeah, that's right. We need the money.
Luxury of what you guys have got, but yeah. I haven't been doing any model building at all, and in fact, after I'll kick you guys out the door, I'll probably sit down and do a bit of work this afternoon.
Oh, what are you going to work on?
The Zeppelin I'm building.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so I think I'll sort of hit that and see how far I get with that today.
Yep.
Apart from that, no, I just hadn't had time really. I've just been too busy. And I'm dying to get back in on model room. I really am. I'm you get to a point sometimes you go, Yeah, you couldn't be sort of bothered getting in there. Then you get to a point, I wouldn't mind getting. And now I'm at that point where I'm just dying to get in there. So yeah, can't wait.
It sounds really weird, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to the lockdown.
Yeah,
so I can spend 2 weeks just sitting on the bench and modelling.
Well, and it's funny because when I announced on our Facebook page that we're going to a weekly show just during this particular event, the amount of support we got from our listeners was just
pretty high, wasn't it?
Overwhelming. I just couldn't believe it. And we'll try to do this as much as we can during this, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, because this could be our last time in the studio for a while.
It could be, but we've got some plans in place to do some remote stuff. So
yeah, so we'll actually be probably talking to everyone while we're modelling.
So we'll see how we go. But thanks for you guys out there backing us up and supporting us in doing this. It's really heartening to hear that. And we'll try to continue and bring you shows as normal. And once the event's over, we'll have to go back to our fortnightly one because we've got our sort of day-to-day lives to get on with. And
yeah, well, that's right, too true. But at the moment, we can just be there, everyone's pseudo model club.
Absolutely. Shall we move on to some mail, I think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Dave.
Okay, so Tony writes in and says, hi, Dave and Ian. He didn't say hi to Julian because you weren't here. You weren't here.
You weren't here. That's what happens when you're AWOL for a day.
Hi, Dave and Julian. Great latest episode as always. Never been brave enough to try thin cement on tough decals, but also never thought of trying it on any of my mules. So thanks for the wake-up.
You're welcome.
The one thing Tony'd like to hear about is our decal work and how we soak them. Tony goes on to say, I use lukewarm water, dip them for about 5 to 10 seconds, then put them face up on paper towel for about a minute. This seems to work well, so they slide easily but don't swim around in a bucket of water. I used to use cold water, but decals take ages to be able to slide, and sometimes they break when I push too hard. I also dip rather than just soaking them because it stops the decals from sometimes coming off the backing sheet in your bowl of water, then scrunching up in a useless blob. Yeah. Cheers, Tony.
Mate, he's pretty much exactly how I do it too.
Yeah, I
take it, put them in there, wait till they're nice and wet, then take them out, put them on a bit of a paper towel.
If he wants a gentle way to get to test if they've come free of the paper, you can just do it with a brush. That's an easier way. You don't have to worry about it breaking.
Well, in fact, when we actually spoke about we only use brushes when we're sort of working with decals. Well, I do anyway. And I think
I generally
similar.
don't. Yeah. I just use tweezers.
Really?
Yeah. But I
use cotton buds as well, or Q-tips as they're known in America.
Yeah.
They work well for manoeuvring stuff around.
No, I just purely use brushes. Dedicated, high-quality brushes.
I just use the tweezers. I almost tap them in a way. Like when I'm positioning them, I just sort of tap them repeatedly, sort of. And because, obviously your hand's not your motor movements is not fine enough that when you tap it, it just goes straight up and down. So it tends to move, it budges them slightly over when I do it.
But for the listeners, you can't see what happened, but just the look on Dave's face when Julian said, I'm using tweezers. So Julian may as well said, I just fire up the backyard chainsaw.
I know. I'm pretty good with my tweezers. I spend a lot of time with my tweezers, more than most. I know that a lot of people...
Hopefully I'm modelling, that is.
Yes. Yes. I do mean modelling. This is a modelling podcast. What else? Anyway, a lot of people I know avoid using tweezers because they're afraid of a part going flying.
Right.
So they'll use their fingers as much as they can. Mm-hmm. But I never went that route. I just got comfortable with using tweezers to the point where I just use them for pretty much almost anything.
Yep.
Using my fingers feels like I'm fat fingering everything, So it's just use tweezers.
Hey.
I use tweezers for everything.
If you're dexterous enough, why not?
Yeah.
But no, I agree with our listeners' little mail there. It's exactly how I do my decals as well.
Because I wasn't here last session. So I've heard some interesting things about Eduard's decals lately.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I'm sure it'll get around a little bit, but there's a post over on the Eduard Facebook page where some person added some kind of thinners to an Eduard decal that they put on that has lots of film, like say like a serial code on the tail of a plane.
Yep.
And it's destroyed all of the carrier film, but left the actual numbers intact. So it's almost like a dry transfer in effect.
Wow.
Right? But you can still position it like you can a wet, like a regular, wet decal, whatever. Water slide decal is the terminology.
So basically it's dissolving the carrier film.
Yes, which is really weird.
But
And
really good.
It's
because
really
that means you get rid of the carrier film.
Yeah, it's a pretty new thing. I don't know how. I don't know what chemicals. I think he specified what he used to end up. It's like a happy accident thing, right?
Yep.
It's not something you set out to do, but it happened to happen, and it's, people are going, "Oh, this is pretty interesting." But prior to this, I'd actually heard that Eduard's been having a lot of trouble with their decals lately.
Really?
Yeah. And there's
who prints their decals? I thought it was. I always thought it was Cartograph.
Well, they used to get Cartograph, and then they sort of went to like a local guy, I think. Mm-hmm. Right? At least this is what people suspect, because obviously they're a bit tight-lipped about these sort of things, right? If you were to ask them, but the people seem to think that they went to a local manufacturer, and then that manufacturer went under, and that they bought up all the stuff and tried to do it themselves, and they're having teething problems. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so people are reporting some pretty iffy Eduard decals out of their newer stuff.
But knowing Eduard would probably, if you contacted Eduard, they'd more than likely send you a replacement set.
Yeah, probably.
I have heard Eduard's pretty good like that.
Yeah, I mean their customer service is pretty good.
Very good. Yeah.
But yeah, this really interesting because it's like on one hand, like people are saying there's been a significant drop in quality. On the other hand, maybe a really good side effect. That, that's weird.
Yeah, no, I'll be definitely looking into that for sure.
Our next email comes from Ian McCauley, who writes, very pleased to hear that you're increasing the frequency of your podcast during the pandemic. As a healthcare professional, I'm on the front lines, and listening to modelling podcasts on the way to and from work every day is a great stress reliever and reminder of more normal times. Well, thanks, Ian, and stay safe.
Yeah, and you, Ian, you're one of the legends of the world.
And he continues on to write, I enjoyed the episode about decaling, and had 2 comments to add.
Putting stickers on a plane.
Yeah. First of all, as Ian mentioned, putting a yellow decal in the window with southern exposure is a great way to bleach out the yellow. It can, however, take several weeks.
Correct.
In Canada, the temperature difference during the day and night can often lead to moisture on the windows, which I never thought of.
Oh, yes, yeah. That'd be terrible. Yeah, you go peel your decal off the window and it's left everything on there.
A decal sheet taped to the window can transfer to the glass.
Yes.
Ask me how I know, he says.
I bet we know how he knows.
Wow. If you put the decal into a zip-locked type of bag and then tape that to the window, it'll keep the decal dry and safe.
Great idea.
Yep. Second point he writes in, Scotch tape works very well to remove decals that are crooked or otherwise need to be removed. Simply apply it, burnish it down, and then remove it. It will take the decal with it, and this also works to remove dry transferred decals. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't take the paint as well.
No, it shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
Unless you did some bad preparation before you paint it.
Exactly right. Ian continues on. Keep up the good work. As always, a pleasure. Glad to hear Julian as well, and keep safe, all of you. Regards, Ian.
You too, Ian.
So thank you very much for writing in. Andy writes in, G'day all, hope you're well. I've attached a picture of my first attempt after 20 years, and I found that the products are much better than they were back in the 90s. Cheers all. And he's actually sending a little picture of his Willie's Jeep that he's had a crack at. And that's pretty good for a first attempt.
That's darn good. Wish my first attempt was that good. That's really good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good weathering. I like the weathering. It's all right, yeah.
It is for a first crack. And the interesting thing is once you sort of progress, and I found that too. In fact, I've even gotten rid of some of my earlier models because they look so terrible compared to my latest ones. So
I did that years ago. This is no joke. I literally got rid of nearly 200 kits.
Wow, what?
Binned them. Yep.
Oh,
it's interesting that he did the figure. I mean, that's usually a lot. That's something that not everyone goes in for.
No, not first thing getting back, because that's a very intimidating thing to do.
Absolutely,
a figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on him for having a good crack at it.
Yeah. John McAvoy just writes in, "Hi Dave, just heard your latest podcast and hoping that Julian is well." And we can report that Julian is doing well. Thank you for the email.
Yes.
You are doing well, aren't you, Julian?
Yeah. I've got 4 kids in front of me. Of course I'm doing well.
Oh, I think that's about it for emails. Just have a quick look. No, I think
That's it?
That's about it. Oh, apart from Ian Fraser wrote in. He's the chief judge from Heritage Con in Canada.
Yep.
And, wow, he wrote a whole heap of stuff, actually.
Far away, mate.
He speaks about the Moosaroo Cup, which we know that we're sort of going in. And he's just saying the next major hurdle for the Moosaroo and any follow-up challenges will be to figure out how to effectively and fairly judge the entries from the opposite ends of the world. But they've been working on that as well. Ian continues on, "I love both your podcasts as well as the ones from our friends at Plastic Model Mojo in Kentucky, and we're going to be talking to Mike shortly, and also
Cool.
the Scale Model Shed in UK. All of you are doing a great service to the hobby. Being part of the Heritage Con organisation, all of your podcasts have allowed me to appreciate and understand more of the different regional flavours of other shows. Keep it up, guys. I can hardly wait for your next episode." Ian Fraser, Chief Judge, Heritage Con.
Thanks, Ian.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. And Ian is a really great bloke. I sat down and had a beer with him when I was over in Canada, and he's one of the true gentlemen of modelling.
Yeah,
he really
yes,
is.
I've heard, yeah.
Yep, absolutely awesome. Well, I think that's it for emails.
Listen,
Of course, if you want to write into us, we love hearing from you. You can drop us an email at onthebench64@gmail.com, and we will attempt to answer any questions. We'll even talk about the bad stuff that you got to say about us if you've got any bad stuff to say about us. But, we take all criticisms on the chin.
Yep.
But we just really love hearing from you guys, so please send your emails in. Right, I think we'll dive straight into what's new, because there isn't too much. There's only a very short what's new in the modelling world.
That's the first casualty of doing going to a weekly format.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, so Takem have announced some new releases. The first one in 1/72 scale is a Chieftain Mark II and a FV432 Mark II, which is basically the British version of the APC.
It even looks identical to the American APC.
Looks got similar shape, but there's only so many ways you can sort of design a bicycle, so
Yeah.
at some point they're going to look fairly similar. But this is great. You get 2 kits in the one box.
And being Take-On, they'd be good quality kits too.
Yeah, but pity it's in 72nd scale, unfortunately. I would have loved them to be in the proper scale, but never mind. I'm sure it appeal to... it's quite a lot of 72nd scale builders out there, actually.
Oh, look at Julian's one.
Well, yeah.
Julian builds 1/72 scale armour.
True.
Yeah, but I only build the good ones.
Yeah, they'd be good ones.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Chieftain tank's a pretty decent tank.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a big presence. They're also doing in 1/35th scale, doing a Merkava 2D from the Israel Defence Force main battle tank. Now, there was another company that had already done quite a few of these, so it's going to be interesting to see how they compare. And I'm just trying to think of the name of the other company.
I think Ming have done one.
It was Mung, wasn't it? It was Mung, yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's also like a really older kit from like a Talieri or something. No, Academy, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, it's one of the Merkavas. I don't know. I can't remember which one's which.
No idea when this one's going to be released, so we'll just have to sort of keep our eyes and ears open as to see when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So, in 35th, still in 1/35th scale, M60A1 Patton main battle tank. Now, it's been a while since we've seen a new one of these come out, I believe, so this is going to be quite intriguing. It was the main battle tank used throughout the Cold War by the US and also equipped quite a large number of armies around the world. Over 15,000 examples were built, both at Chrysler and also the Detroit Arsenal tank plant.
And they look really cool with German crosses on them. From the Battle of the Bulge movie. Was it Battle of the Bulge or Patton?
No,
I think it was Patton.
I think it might have been Patton.
Yeah.
Battle of the Bulge. What tanks did they use in that one?
I know they were American tanks.
I know they were American ones. I'm trying to think which ones they were.
I thought that was
Pattons. I think they might have used Pattons as well in that.
I'll have to go back and watch the movie. Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself. Come on.
It's a good movie, actually.
Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah, I love it. It was a great
Some of those old war movies were great.
Yeah. No,
One of my favourites,
What's that?
the Guadalcanal Diary. Have you ever seen that? I think it's one of the first colour movies straight after the war. Guadalcanal Diary. It's a great movie, great story.
The amount of mail we got about when we talked about movies was we have to sit down and have an episode just devoted to the movies. I think,
all right.
And TV series,
modelling and movies.
Yeah, because the amount of mail we got was just huge and quite contentious too. I've got to say.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not experts in the field.
Well, no, because because I was saying I didn't think the battle. Well, you said you saw the Battle of Midway and you really liked it.
Yeah, I saw it. I watched it last weekend and I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Look, it's Hollywood. The way I looked at it is I sat down and I said, look, this is not going to be 100% accurate. This is Hollywood. Right? So be prepared for a bit of BS thrown in. But after reading the book Shattered Sword, they basically, a lot of stuff in there was spot on. They were right on the mark with a lot of the thing. And yes, it was glorified here and there and a bit of BS thrown in as well, but I found it really entertaining, and I'll probably end up watching it again tonight.
Yeah, I've got to take your advice and Ethan's advice and sit back down and watch it again. Yeah. All right. Continuing on, still on Take-On, and we have a Stug 3.
Oh, have they done Stugs before?
I don't think they have.
No.
Because I've always been a fan of the Stug. I like the Stug. I reckon the Stug was a great vehicle.
Yeah, you've done a Stug.
Yeah, I've built a Stug.
Yeah.
I started the Stug and then left it for 2 years and then came back and finished it for Expo.
Oh, that's a finished Stug up there.
Oh, it is too, yes.
Okay, they're saying all the kits will be available in April and May from Take-On suppliers worldwide.
So,
looks like they're taking advantage of all the modelers at home.
Yep.
Well, that'd be the thing to do, as long as the mail's still working.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it. Mail still will work.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, the demand will go up.
Yeah.
It's already gone up.
Oh, you busy at work, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. All right, I think that's it for what's new in the modelling world. You guys got anything new?
No, because I haven't really. I've been too busy at work, and it's only been a week since our last recording. So,
all right, well, how about we have a quick break, and then we'll have a chat with our guest from Kentucky. We'll be back shortly.
Sure.
Fine Scale Modeler is proud to support On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeler is the world's most recognised and essential magazine, and is available in all good newsagents and newsstands, or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, go to their website www.finescale.com and subscribe to either the print edition or the digital edition, or why not both? Go now. Go to www.finescale.com. Back, and we've got our special guest, Mike from Kentucky, USA. G'day, Mike.
Hello, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Well, it's nighttime here. Morning there, I think.
Morning here. Yep. We're doing great, thanks.
But just before we start, I just got something for you, Mike. Hang on.
Hey, all right.
Good on you, Dave.
That's my little banjo I just sort of plucked there. So, so for everybody who has not heard, has been living under a rock, Mike actually has his own modelling podcast called the Plastic Model Mojo. And you do that with Dave. Is that correct?
That is correct. Dave and I are longtime model hobby friends, probably since the early 90s. And we got to the point where we both kind of wanted to do it, but we were both hoping somebody else would do the legwork.
And
no, go ahead.
Yeah, go on. That never sort of took off, so you thought you'd have a crack yourselves.
No, that's right. I decided let's just do this, and most of it's not that hard. So, and with your guys' help, we've come up the ladder really quick. So we appreciate that for sure.
Oh, look, that was our pleasure, and we have
we've got the sort of mentality where whatever's good for the hobby is good for us as well. So we sort of love nothing more than promoting all aspects of the hobby, and that includes sort of, you know, other people who are doing great jobs like yourself. And you guys got such an interesting sort of spin on it where you introduce and talk about your modelling fluid.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. Well, because it's Friday night, so it's Friday night here, so I'm having a little bit right now. You guys are probably still drinking coffee, maybe.
Actually, you're right.
Yes.
I think I've got to wait at least another half hour till it's midday before I can have my first tipple.
Oh, there you go. How's that Woodford working out for you?
Oh, mate, that is great stuff. Thank you very much. I'm loving it.
You're very welcome. That was a lot of fun.
That is great. We'll have to send you up something from down here, I think.
Well, yeah, sure. That'd be great.
We'll find you a good Aussie beer and send you that up.
Awesome rum. We make some good rum actually in Australia.
Well, yes, I've heard there's a particular rum, in fact, that we
Bundaberg.
were hoping you might mention. Yes,
Bundaberg rum. That's easily obtainable.
So, with our podcast, you mentioned that, you know, our own take, and that was kind of by design. We saw what you guys were doing and what Stuart and Anthony were doing in Canada, and we wanted to offer something a little bit different, but not completely different. But, you know, we typically don't run through all the new kit releases because you guys are doing a great job at that, and
Thanks.
We haven't got into many interviews yet at all, and that may be on the horizon. But you know, Anthony Goodman in particular, he does a really good job, I think, and it'd be hard to top, I think. And we're just kind of picking the things we thought would be different. You know, we go through our favorites and least favorite announcements of the month, for example, that kind of thing. And of course, we start off with the modeling fluid, which is a long time running joke between me and Dave. So,
well, I think that part of it is certainly appreciated by most of your listeners, actually, because it always sort of seems to pop up in conversation quite a bit, and a lot of people are enjoying it.
Yes.
Well, you know, we figured we'd have touched the nerve of some religious zealot by now, but it hasn't happened, thankfully.
I think those people have quietly learnt to shut their mouths from now on.
Yeah, but you know, bourbon's a big deal in Kentucky. It really is. So.
Bourbon's a big deal everywhere, in my opinion.
They haven't stopped that yet.
That's good.
It's interesting. A lot of our local whiskey producers and also local bourbon and gin producers are switching production to hand sanitizer now because the process is very similar.
Yeah, we have the exact same thing happening here.
Yeah. So how are you guys coping over there with everything? I mean, we're reading in the paper that, and you know, I don't mean to sort of talk too much about it, but I was just thinking about this the other day, and it's funny because, you know, we sit here and we talk about our bushfires, and everybody else, the bulk of the population sort of sits and watches it on TV and has a bit of a understanding, but they're not involved in an emergency. Whereas this, for the first time in any generation's living memory, is something that is affecting everybody all around the world at the same time, and everybody is caught up in it. Unlike, say, a bushfire or a flood or an earthquake or something like that, everybody is impacted.
Mm.
We're getting along. You know, there's lots of different measures happening. You know, we're work from home if that option exists, and it does for me to some extent in my profession.
Yep.
And Dave is an attorney, and he works in a small office in downtown Louisville, and they haven't sent him home, but it's probably a low risk situation. He's actually enjoying the light traffic driving into town every morning.
As we all are. As we all are. The traffic is just amazing.
I guess the one thing to say a lot and try not to say too much is that if, you know, I have two teenage sons, if their generation defining event has to be a negative, I hope this is it, because I would really not want it to be worse than this.
No, totally agree. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a bit about yourself, Mike. Where did you come from? Where did you grow up? And how did you get into modeling?
I am originally from East Tennessee, from Appalachia. I'm the hillbilly of the pair. You call us both hillbillies, but Dave's the sophisticate. At least that's what he tells me. It's an interesting story. In the U.S., every Christmas or about Thanksgiving, two major retailers at the time when I was growing up in the 70s were Sears and Roebuck, or just Sears by that point, and J.C. Penney. And they'd all put out these wish books about Thanksgiving when the kids get out of school, and they'd always have a toy section in the back, and we'd just thumb over those. And there was a model kit section, and I ended up wanting and getting a monogram B-24 Liberator for Christmas.
The classic B-24.
Classic kit. It's a lot for a 10-year-old to bite off, though, I'll tell you that.
Oh, would be, yes.
So my father and I, we built that, and then it just kind of went from there. And, I've probably built all the monogram 48 scale single engine aircraft.
Yep.
And we used to heat up the paper clip and punch the bullet holes in them and do all that stuff.
And the thing we used to like too about the monogram 48 scale kits, you always used to get a little supplement from Shepherd Payne.
Yes.
Diorama. It's like when you got the B-17, you had that really nice crushed B-17 diorama, and the Mitchell, you had the Mitchell with the engine ripped out with tarps over it, and you did another one with an engine changeover on the P-61 Black Widow. Really inspirational for a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I did aircraft, all, small scale too, 72nd scale. I did all the, the blister pack airfix kits.
Yes.
The carded ones. God, hundreds of those, probably. But, we were going on summer vacation, and we'd always go to the beach in South Carolina. And there was always a breakfast stop we'd make in North Carolina on the way there. And this place had this huge newsstand. And I just was looking around on this particular trip. I was probably 13. And there was a copy for sale of the American military modeling magazine, not the British military modeler, but military modeling. And from that point on, it was all armor all the time.
Caught the bug.
Exactly. And I've come up building armor since, I guess that was the mid-'80s, early 80s. And I think a lot of people have the beer and women and cars stories after they get, of age. Mm. And I guess I had that too, but I never quit. I never quit modeling. And I was part of the foundation of an IPMS chapter in my hometown in Tennessee, and that went on for a while. And then I moved to Kentucky right after college, after engineering school, and, back up a little bit. Before I actually moved up here permanently, I was on a cooperative engineering rotation program, and I was working for a company at the time in Lexington, and it was all pre-internet, so I had all my mail forwarded to my new apartment, all my magazine subscriptions. So I get Fine Scale Modeler, and I'm looking up, and there's this show in Louisville. And it's about an hour drive from here. So that's how I got involved with the club up here. There's not really been a club in Lexington, which is kind of surprising because it's not that small of a town. But Louisville's about the size of, is it Adelaide near you guys?
Yeah,
Adelaide is next state.
Yeah, it's about that size in terms of population. So, but the Louisville club is really well established and really great club, and I got heavily involved with that. I got into the contest scene, and we made a lot of road trips with the club, all the IPMS shows, the regional shows, and we were going to the AMPS National Show for quite a few years. And that's kind of my story. I've been modeling a long time, and I never really quit up to a point. But about 2003 or 4, just life kind of changed. I got married, I started having kids, and I kind of fell off the wagon for quite a long time. And not really completely off. I was still kind of an armchair modeler, dabbling on things that were, builds that were taking me, almost a decade to finish, but dabbling. And still buying, of course, and still reading all the websites and all the press and that sort of thing. But finally now, with the help of, I got into your podcast, I got into Stuart and Anthony's podcast, and we got our own podcast. And with a little bit of accountability, sharing and getting back into the whole community of modeling. I've kind of come back into the fold, and I'm really having a great time.
That's great to hear.
That is good to hear.
I've actually been to Nashville and down in Tennessee, and you are blessed by having a whole heap of Civil War battlefields all across that particular area, and it's a beautiful part of the US, and I'm really keen to get back down there one day. Just loved it down in Tennessee. I'd never got across to Kentucky, but I imagine it's not that much different from Tennessee.
Not really. It's not much different at all.
And what I like
unless you're talking sports, then it's very different.
yes. Same here.
Well, there's no sports going at all at the moment. So.
No, not here.
Yeah, they canceled spring, so no basketball, no horse racing, no nothing.
I think they're going to cancel 2020 full stop, I reckon.
that might happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I get my money back?
That's right.
So, I mean, the other thing too is you're well positioned to sort of just shoot off and go to some of the big major model shows that sort of happen around your area or your part of the US as well. You're well positioned for that.
Yeah, Lexington and Louisville, for that matter, were, I don't have a really concept of what's a commutable distance for a modeler in Australia or Europe or wherever, but when we were a little younger, if it was a multi-day thing, we might go. The AMPS National Show, when I was going regularly, was in Aberdeen, Maryland, which is right at 10 hours from here.
It's a decent trip.
That's a decent trip, but if it's 4 modelers in the car yucking it up,
it'll go in no time.
it goes pretty quick. But Cincinnati is north of us, hour 10 minutes to the show. We went to Indianapolis a few weeks ago before the world caught on fire, and that's about 3 hours, not quite. But Nashville's about 3. Columbus, Dayton, all the more larger metropolitan areas of Ohio are all within 3 hours of here. So, yeah, you're right. We are well positioned. There's a lot of really good shows. I haven't been to a lot of them up until recently, but now I'm getting back into it, and I've been to a couple already in the last few months, and hopefully, if they don't cancel them all, maybe later in the summer or fall, we'll pick up a few more and see what we can do.
So, how did you find the changes from your break to getting back into the modeling?
Well, some of those changes are actually kind of why I stagnated. The modeling world I grew up in was Shepard Payne and Francois Verlinden.
Yes,
it was all in the modeling side. No, those guys did some aircraft. They used a lot of the same techniques, but from an armor centric kind of standpoint, where I'm coming from, it was all build, paint, wash, dry brush, and that was it.
Yep.
I mean that was the whole weathering process.
Exactly. Yeah, and I remember Verlinden was huge on dry brushing.
Oh yeah. And it was the 2002 AMPS Nationals, and I mentioned this on Scale Model Podcast when I was on that one. I won best Russian armor at that show with a model I built of an Su-76 self-propelled gun, the old Allen Hobbies kit that I completely rebuilt. And the model that won, well, let me back up a little bit. The judges, you get some judging feedback from that. You guys have had a segment on AMPS judging versus IPMS judging.
Yeah.
And that was one of the points that was discussed, that you get all this feedback, and you do. And a couple of the judges were like, man, it was so close. Because once you get past the gold, silver, bronze in AMPS, it does become subjective again. Mm-hmm. At the kind of when it all boils out and all those awards have been given, the best ofs and the best of show, it starts getting subjective again. And I just missed it. And the model that I missed it with was a model of a Soviet T-72, but an Iraqi vehicle. And from the first Gulf War, if you remember, there were a lot of these vehicles that looked like they had been painted with like latex house paint.
Yeah.
And it was just peeling off and just shards. And some guy had done this and also put the interior in the thing on top of that. But the thing was just absolutely brilliant. And I was like, oh, man. I knew it was a game changer. And at about that same time, Miguel Jimenez was coming onto the scene, and I'm a slow builder, so I just got swept away by the tide, and I just kind of stopped.
Yep.
And just coming back into it, the techniques have changed, the products have changed, and I've got, I'm trying to get caught up. Basically, it's a lot different now. There's a lot more focus on the finish now than I won't say the construction's gone away. You still got to build a quality model if you're going to be in a competition, but there's so much with the techniques today. It takes as long to paint and finish a model as it does to build it.
Correct.
And that used to not be quite as true, I don't think.
No. Before it was just going back to the 80s. It was just slapping it together and putting a nice paint job on it, and then a bit of a dry brush and a wash, and you were done.
Well, I mean, like, I think what he's getting at is that things were more construction focused in the past.
Yes.
There was like, especially in magazines, Fine Scale Modeler. Yeah. It was all about the white styrene and repurpose this to make that, and
Yeah.
Whereas
Julian, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, whereas nowadays you've got so many aftermarket accessories available,
and the kits are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find a project to go that kind of extra mile on anymore, really.
My most hated kit at the moment.
You'll get it done, and it'll be fabulous.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, like the 1/16 scale sort of stuff has sort of brought back a lot of the scratch building community for armor. They'll get those great big 1/16 scale models, and then they'll do a full interior build.
So that art's still there.
Well, that's actually an interesting point you bring up, Julian, because for the armour modelers, so much is done for you now. It's all down to you selecting the model you're going to build, then selecting all the aftermarket stuff, then selecting how you're going to put it together, and then painting and how you're going to paint it, really. There's
Have you noticed that all the recent armour kits are all sort of going, here's a full interior.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy some resin. You don't have to scratch build anymore.
Yep.
As long as I get the
I don't
interior
know if I like that. Dave and I have talked about that before. I mean, you've moved the finish line way out when you have a full interior on an armor kit.
Yeah.
And some of them you just can't. We were talking about it, and it's this KV1. Who's doing it with the interior? Ryfield.
Yes.
Ryfield's coming out, and now the engine deck's one thing, but the fighting compartment, the turret, you're gonna be looking, unless you do a cutaway or take the roof off, you're looking through two holes that are, I don't know, 18 millimeters in diameter, something like that. The hatches that can.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me back of the days when I built the old monogram 48 scale B25 Mitchell. And I spent weeks doing the interior. It looked fantastic. And I put the fuselage halves together. Can't see anything.
Yeah. But see, with cutaways, my argument against cutaways is that there are no cutaway vehicles in real life unless you see one in a museum that someone's, taken a torch to.
Yep.
Right?
True.
So it's a bit jarring, right?
Unless you do like a battle damage, like the roof's blown off or something.
Yeah, I guess. But
you can see inside it. But then again, the only thing you're going to see inside is just black with a bit of white burnt.
Yeah.
But then, like, once you start doing cutaways, is you got to pay attention to like how thick is the armor, right?
Yeah, so you got to
that's an
scale
interesting thing about armor kits, right? If it's not scale thickness, then
it's going to look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean there. Yeah.
Some kits allow for it, but others don't.
But no, I don't mind the extra detail. And also, I don't mind doing a bit of scratch building either. Scratch building can be quite therapeutic.
Yeah, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, I'm the same with Julian. I can't be bothered unless I have to because I've broken something or, I'm the same.
It's like panel scribing. Panel scribing is one of the most relaxing things I can do.
You know what I find most relaxing is assembling individual links on tracks.
Yeah.
I find that very sort of zen-like. You just sit there and just plug away.
Yep, just tune out and just away you go.
Absolutely.
Well, you two are crazy. What you two are crazy. What's Julian do for relaxation?
I was asking myself that question just as they were talking about it. What do I do for relaxation? I don't know, just general construction type stuff, I guess.
That's your thing.
Yeah, because it doesn't really matter to me, like what it is I'm building. Like
you prove that. You build anything.
Yeah. I'm a generalist, yeah.
Yeah, generalist. That's the way of putting it.
Very true. Was more of a... Well, I used to be a purist in just doing, ships and submarines, but I've sort of branched out in more recent times, so... Yeah.
Well, I just find the more different subjects you tackle is the more different techniques you use and the more you learn.
Yeah, I'm looking for a bit of variety on my modelling shelf as well, though.
Yep.
It looks a bit different.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I've been. I've been looking at a lot of stuff that's not 35th scale armor related here lately, and I've bought a few things, but I haven't started any of them yet, but I guess we've all done that.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we've all got those kits in the stash and been sitting there for 20 years.
And it's funny, I was very regimented because in my submarines and shipbuilding, I'm purely a constant scale, so everything's going to be 1/350th scale, and I've never sort of gone above or below that line, with a couple of exceptions of marine rescue boats that you can't get any other scale but, say, 1/35th. But my aircraft, I was dabbling there for a while because I had this vision of building a huge bomber fleet. I was doing it in 1/144th scale. That's sort of gone by the wayside now.
Dave's scale is dead.
Dave's scale's sort of slightly dying. I've got aircraft in a whole heap of different scales, and I was intending just to stick to a constant scale, but there's just so many interesting subjects out there that are in different scales. You go, oh no, I might grab that one.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got the problem with your big aircraft, where you're going to store them and how you're going to display them. I mean, you've got that problem even with your Lancaster, let alone, any other sort of...
My 48 scale Lancaster is actually at a friend's place because I don't have room for it. And my Shikaku, well, that's stored in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hasn't seen daylight in months.
Well, what's had my eye lately is World War II float planes.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
and catapults. Mm-hmm. And catapults on turrets. That's even better in 72nd scale. So I've got an Arado 196 and a Kingfisher, and there's a French one I'm looking at, and there's a 72nd scale website that the guys built the aft turret on the I can't remember which German ship it is, but
Bismarck or something like that, or the
it's not the Bismarck, but
they didn't have catapults in their turrets.
It's one of the ships that had the turret that was identical to the one that's on that big fort up in Norway, that they salvaged the turret and built a coastal fort out of it. The Gneisenau.
Gneisenau, and the Scharnhorst.
Yeah.
Yes, because those two were sister ships. So yeah.
So I see something like that and I go, it's really, really cool. But
if you like float planes, a suggestion is the Airfix 48 scale Supermarine Walrus. That's a lovely kit. That's one of the newer Airfix boxings.
And that was actually launched off the ships by catapult as well.
Correct. Yes, the Walrus were.
Yeah.
What's your preferred scale for these float planes?
72nd scale, because I want them on catapults and turrets.
That's fair, because that's a bit big in...
Because didn't Hasegawa years ago bring out a whole range of Japanese float planes on catapults?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they did back in the 80s.
Don't know. They'd be old kits now.
They'd be old kits, but at least it's something to start off with.
Yeah, I think you struggle to find them.
What got me started down this is that Model Collect makes that German turret in 72nd scale. Now you have to kind of revert it back to the battleship or cruiser turret, whichever it was, but because they took some stuff off of it when they land based it. Mm-hmm. But there's a build online where the guy took. That's what he did. The Model Collect turret and a scratch built catapult and a I can't remember which Arado it is, but one of 72nd scale. It's not the Airfix. It was a newer one, the sword kit.
All right. Yep.
And it's really nice. And I got in contact with the guy, and he sent me all his CAD files for the catapult parts.
Oh, handy.
So as soon as I get the stones to do that, I might
Start doing a bit of scratch building.
That's right. I may break that one out.
That's the modeling community right there.
Yep.
Just
in a nutshell.
Contacting some guy online, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll help you build that thing."
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
You're
what
right.
we like. Yeah, that's good. We also like band together, help each other out.
And the advent of the internet has certainly, really sort of brought that process to the fore now, where you can contact anyone around the world, and there's special interest groups you can dive into, and there's heaps of people there who are more than happy to share what they've done in the past, CAD files if they've got them, or decals, or all that sorts of stuff.
Even like accessories, you get these a couple of people that do like an update for a kit for themselves, and then they'll just sell it online.
Yep.
And even this podcast, I mean, 20 years ago, we'd have to do this. It cost us $100 in long distance, and we'd have to record it on a cassette tape.
Correct.
Mail order.
The old mail order days.
It's interesting. I get quite a few emails actually from people who say that the podcasts that we're doing, and I'd use the royal we as in all of us, because people haven't got access to a model club. We're becoming their virtual model clubs for them.
Yeah.
How's that? Isn't that brilliant?
We better stay on the up and up then.
True, mate. True. No slipping.
So tell us a little bit about your crazy offsider Dave. He builds completely just in 1/72nd scale, does he not?
Just about. He also builds some 700 scale submarines from time to time. And gosh, what else? Very small subjects in 35th scale.
Right.
Like small field guns and things like that. But mostly the small stuff. But a 72nd scale aircraft all day long.
Yep.
That's it. That's his shtick. So
That seems unusual to me.
Well,
Because my impression of the American modeler is someone who goes for larger scales, right?
yeah, but with the smaller scale, you get more kits,
Yeah, that's true.
and you can fit more kits into a space.
Like I imagine like 32nd scale models are very popular in the US.
Well, listening to Dave on the Plastic Model Mojo podcast, he definitely marches to the beat of his own drum. So I could perhaps understand why he loves 1/72nd scale stuff. And you know what? That's what we all cut our teeth on when we first started. Was
Yeah.
actually is
Oh,
1/76 scale, to be honest.
Oh, the old HO scale.
Yeah, the old HO scale,
Yep.
Airfix and then Matchbox.
I had hundreds of those figures. Those little.
Yes.
yeah.
They're made out of that rubbery plastic that paint wouldn't stick to.
You didn't paint them. We just set them up on the billiard table when I was growing up, and just have these,
Big battles.
division-sized battles.
We all did that. We had a great life.
Oh, we sure did. That was the only way to go. And of course, at some point, it always involved firecrackers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Jeez, that wouldn't go down too well on a billiard table.
Firecracker.
Well, perhaps not on the billiard table, but certainly firecrackers were involved in the stuff that I was doing when I was young.
In the old backyard battles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, we all did that.
And then you try and collect, because you'd buy those little Airfix
HO scale figures.
and after a couple of crackers have gone off, then trying to find where they all are, and you're always missing one or two missing in action. You never get them all back.
Yeah, they get stood on and trotted deep into the dirt, and they're gone forever.
Oh, that's some of what our youth are going to miss out on, because they're never going to have the joys of all that sort of
No,
stuff.
literally, because when I was growing up, there was already like video games doing that sort of thing for us. So it was completely gone.
Yes.
Julian,
Julian, you'll never know the pleasure of setting the back wall of your parents' house on fire.
Oh, there was Warhammer. Warhammer was a thing when I was younger.
Yes.
I wasn't into it, but yeah, people like
There's nothing like being 8 years old, setting the back wall on fire, and then ruining your mother's broom trying to put it out.
Oh, Ian. Gosh.
Yeah.
What a great child.
Wish I was a kid again now.
Yeah,
after that.
exactly. Yes.
Well, I don't, because we don't have crackers or anything over here anymore. Fireworks are all been banned now.
Yep.
After some kids sort of blew their fingers off, they said, that's it, no more.
Yep.
Can't get them anymore. It's been like that for quite a few years now, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
Well, that's a good way to burn the country down too, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's true as well, yeah. We don't need any further assistance doing that.
Nah, nature does a good enough job for us.
So, with you, just take a step back with some of your model shows that you sort of get off to, because and Ian and I and Julian were sort of always toying with the idea of perhaps getting over to the States one day to get to one of the shows, the big IPMS shows over there. Just give us a bit of a flavour of how big it actually is.
The national show?
Yeah.
Well, I wish we had Dave on the phone because he goes every year. I don't go every year, but it's a pretty big show. I mean, you've got just thousands of entries, and just the vendor selection on the trade side is, there's enough there that they're set up there for 3-4 days, and you got manufacturers there, you've got people selling their stashes, you've got just mail order businesses there set up. It's just a 3 or 4 day extravaganza, really, of spending all your money and talking to your buddies and just looking at some really incredible models.
Spending all of your money, not just a portion of it.
All your money.
All of it, yes.
And then,
all of your money.
And then you got the problem at the end of the weekend is, I haven't got enough room in my car to fit all this. How am I supposed to get this armful of kits back home?
Or we got one more meal to eat.
Yeah. That's it.
But what a treat! Because those typically that show goes over about 4 days, and then if you look at your bump in either side, so that's pretty much a 5 or even a 6 day event, really. And you got people coming from all over the country, indeed even some international travellers. Whereas the big shows down here in Australia, the longest one goes over a 3 day period.
Yep.
I'm just thinking of Telford in the UK. I think that's just a 2 day one.
I think Telford's just 2 days, yeah.
So what amazes me is how they can actually fit a whole show in just 2 days. I mean, that just staggers me. All those people, all those kits.
Well,
Plus we should go and figure out how it works.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah. As we should do one year, get all 4 podcasts together.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be quite the undertaking.
It'd be a huge undertaking.
We'd have to pick a country.
Yeah. A neutral we'll go to Switzerland.
Switzerland, what? That's a very...
That's a neutral country, isn't it?
Oh, a neutral country, right.
Switzerland.
We'd have to pick a country where all of us have to travel an equal distance.
Oh, we'll have it on the moon, Dave.
No. Let me think now.
Equal distance. Somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Exactly.
Midway. We'll go to Midway.
It's probably in the middle of the ocean.
Hawaii? No, Hawaii doesn't work for our European friends.
No.
They work for the Canadians. It work for you guys from Kentucky. It work for us.
I reckon Midway.
No, I reckon we just go to Hawaii. It's got some great museums over there. Great sunshine.
Guam.
No,
Bolivia.
you can't get to Guam.
No.
Well, you can, but there's not much there.
No. Most would be restricted anyway.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, that's something we can think of in the future.
Another detail with the IPMS Nationals, if it's kind of location dependent, what the quality of it is, but there's a lot of day trips and tours that are scheduled kind of around the model show.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So, for instance, they had the IPMS Nationals in Dayton. I can't remember when it was. It's been a while now, but of course the U.S. Air Force Museum is there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when they have it at Virginia Beach, I think it's Virginia Beach. That's commutable down to Washington, D.C. Somebody had one where you can get to what's called, the name of it is Silver Hill. It's the restoration part of the Air and Space Museum.
Oh, right.
Right, that would have been cool.
Oh, there's some very interesting subjects in that place.
Yeah.
And then our own show in the past, if I'm not mistaken, our IPMS show, we're close to Fort Knox, and the Patton Museum is at Fort Knox. Now it's a shadow of what it was because the Army, in their restructuring of their division level training, moved everything to Fort Benning, Georgia, and they took part of the collection was Army owned and part of it was Patton Museum owned. All the George S. Patton artifacts and a few other things around that are owned by the Patton Museum and cannot leave that part of Kentucky.
Yep.
But all the other armor went down to Fort Benning, Georgia. And unfortunately, a lot of it sat outside for a while. And they think they've got it most of it under still open air kind of pole barns, but it's at least undercover. And I don't know what they're going to do with it. The curator down there he's got his work cut out for him because, you know, the highlights of that collection was they had a Sturmgeschütz 3 that was still in the original paint.
Oh wow!
Oh,
it was pretty faded and beat up, but it'd never been repainted.
Wow, was that in the grey or the yellow?
No, it was in yellow, but a 3-tone over that. It still had
with
the original
with the brown and the green.
Yes, and it still had the original unit markings on the tail plate on the back, and just a really, really amazing piece. And they had the Panther II.
Yep.
Which was a prototype, but you know it came back to the U.S. and it was at the Patton Museum, and that one's now at Fort Benning as well. So, you know, it's all tied to the Army's budget and the government's budget now. So, hopefully that resurrects itself somehow, and those get the respect they deserve because they had a lot of unique things, and it was sad for us to see it all go away.
Oh, it would have been, yeah, definitely.
Because, you know, Fort Knox from Louisville is like 25 minutes. It's about an hour 30 from here. But, you know, it's just it's a day trip the club would make every now and then. We go down there and knock around or make pre-arrangements and get in some of the back storage barns and climb all over that stuff. And unfortunately, we can't do that now. But back to the IPMS Nationals. I don't know what was planned for the show that was supposed to be here in Texas this summer. I don't know if they're going to have it or not. They're still kind of holding on to see what happens. But I would have to assume they've got some kind of tours set up around that show as well, because that's kind of an extracurricular kind of activity that's around the Nationals is tours to local and drivable distance museums that are of interest to the modelers. And sometimes they also have things that, you know, if your wife and family are coming with you, things to keep them busy while everybody else is nerding it up at the model show.
Well, that's a really clever way of doing it, isn't it? Really clever way.
Daycare for your spouse.
Yeah, it's called a shopping mall and the credit card.
Yeah. Sound like you know about that.
Yeah.
We all do. Yeah. I think that's a universal thing, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future hold for you, Mike?
In what regard?
In regards to your podcast, regards to your modeling?
Well, you know, for the podcasts, you know, we've not tried to monetize anything or do the Patreon yet. We're kind of letting this thing grow and see if that's something we want to do. We're probably going to start a few interviews because we've had a couple of folks. Well, you know, IPMS Nationals, in fact, one of their representatives was on Stuart and Anthony's show, and I got an email from them. You know, they want to spread the word as much as they can, but again, this is before the world went down to crapper, and we've got a couple other ideas about some folks we'd like to get on and talk to them, and just trying to see where this grows. We don't know. We watch the stats off our hosts. Our host has some pretty good statistical analysis of what's going on, and we can certainly tell when you guys drop a good plug for us. That absolutely shows up in our data.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
And maybe offline you could maybe share at some point maybe go back a few episodes and give us some stats to see what to compare to, because we just don't know.
Yeah.
We're new at this, and for me as a modeler, I want to keep advancing here. I actually finished something this year. I'd been on my bench for ages, and I've got several in the pipeline now. I want to keep plucking along at those and just get back into this like I used to be.
Yep.
And I'm getting there. I'm having a great time, and the podcasts have helped. Our podcast has helped, and I'm painting a 25 millimeter dwarf right now.
Dwarf.
It's a fantasy figure. I used to play the games back when I was a kid, and they're just so much fun to paint.
Yeah,
kind of like your Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't. That's kind of keeping my hands moving.
Mm-hmm. And those 25 millimeter figures are great. I remember as a youngster, I used to collect all the Raoul Partha figures and the original Citadel figures before they went Games Workshop. And you had some really interesting stuff that you could buy. And I've still got a heap at home that one day maybe I'll get back into painting.
Well, it's a good way to keep your hands moving, so your skills don't atrophy over time.
Exactly.
Just not doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of helped me learn some new techniques and advance some techniques and skills, and hopefully I can apply these to future projects. And
Well, Mike, go ahead. We're getting some bit of a stilted sort of thing there, so I might just pause it there, and I'll call you back, and we'll just finish off the chat from there. So,
because you're starting to sound a bit like a robot.
So just stand by, and we'll call you right back.
By the sound.
Yeah, it's like it's a bandwidth issue or something.
Yeah. Okay, back in a sec. So we've got Mike back, and a bit of a bandwidth issue there, but that's okay. So I think we'll wrap it up there with you, Mike.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, it's been great talking to you, mate.
Keep up the good work, and maybe we'll do this again sometime and get Dave on as well, and you can get his perspective on a few things.
Sounds great.
That would be fantastic to have him on. All right, Mike, thank you very much.
Yeehaw.
All right, cheers. Thanks very much, mate. And we'll talk again soon.
Keep in touch.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Well, that was a great little interview.
Yeah.
What a nice fella.
Oh, yes. And Dave sounds like a real character as well.
Oh, right,
We're going to get Dave on as well. It'd be
Yes.
funny to get both of them on at the same time.
Mm.
I don't know how quite I'd be able to do that electronically. We'll have to figure it out.
We'll get around there.
I'm not a fan of your banjo, just saying.
I like my banjo. I bought it because I wanted to learn how to play it.
And did you?
Yeah, well,
obviously
maybe you
you
should
didn't.
wait until you learn how to play it.
No, I can do a roll. See?
Okay.
That's a roll. Hang on.
Dave,
And then I go.
please
Okay.
put the banjo down and step away.
All right. Okay. That's right.
You've been told, Dave.
Well, I had grand aspirations of doing my own intro, but okay, I'll just let that go.
Practice first, Dave. Practice.
Oh gosh. All right, guys. So what we got coming out for next week for you guys?
Well, so far I'm still working, so
Yep.
see what the future holds.
Absolutely. And
Like everyone else in the planet, everything's up in arms, taking it day by day.
Absolutely, Julian. What do you got sort of programmed in for the next week or so?
Well, I'm still working. I'll be working in my spare time on the Frenchie plane.
Mm-hmm.
It'll keep going for a little bit longer because getting close-ish to finishing construction, and then I'll be able to paint it.
Cool.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to seeing your painting of that as well.
Yeah, I know. It'll be fun. It's not like it's got like the French camouflage isn't too bad. I can just freehand all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had to do a bit of research for the colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got some good choice colors. I had to pick a few Guns colors for this one. Yeah, my preferred brand MRP didn't have the colors. They haven't got a French paint line up yet. So, and even if they did, I'm not sure if they'd necessarily get it correct either, because it's kind of a weird niche area.
Absolutely.
One of those areas where people aren't too sure exactly what it is, but as close as you can get it is good enough for me.
Well, you got to think there's nearly 100 years ago when these things were painted.
And how many people are going to come along and go, "Oh, that's the wrong colour"? I mean, if you've got if you're off by a couple of shades, there's not too many sort of French World War II people walking around who could say
That's
not
the wrong shade of
the
blue.
wrong shade of blue.
Well, funnily enough, one of these things, because there's none left, right? There's none remaining. There's just bits and pieces, like scraps, and people have been. There's some company over in France that are actually building one from scratch.
Oh, okay, replica.
No, well, I guess a replica, yeah, but it's early stages, I believe, but it's pretty interesting. There's like a video on YouTube of it, and they show themselves designing it up in CAD, and then they overlay the 3D model of what they made in CAD over a photo from the period of like some guy in the workshop working on it.
Yeah.
And it fits perfectly. So they've nailed it. It'll be good if it ends up getting. I mean, probably like 10, 15 years down the line if they finish it. It'll look fun.
Yeah.
Well. All right, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back next week.
Yes.
As we continue to help you guys through this international pandemic event by giving you something to listen to while you're sitting at home in quarantine.
Yep.
As I said, we're going to sort of battle along and see how we go. We're going to keep doing it in studio as long as we can until we're ordered to separate.
Yep.
And you guys, what are you going to do for food? Because I normally feed you. Michelle and I feed you when you get here.
Mate, I got 6 months worth of food and water stashed away.
Yeah, but you'll miss out Michelle's good cooking.
It'll just mean the next time I'm back, it'll be even better.
All right, so I think we'll sign off. Ian.
Photo, which is your friend.
Julian.
Buy more tools.
There you go. And from me, I'll catch you next week. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that show. It's been great having you with us for this, not special podcast, but our new weekly trial. And as I said, we'll continue to do that as long as we can. If you're looking for some more modelling goodness, you can certainly tune into our good friends up in Canada, the Scale Model Podcast, Stuart and Anthony. And, of course, don't forget to give Dave and Mike a listen on Plastic Model Mojo. Don't forget also to keep up the emails to us. And if you want to drop us an email, you can do by going to onthebench64@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And don't forget also, we've got a Facebook page as well, On The Bench. So just type in On The Bench to your Facebook search engine and that'll take you directly to our Facebook page. So we'll be back next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, everybody, and enjoy your lockdown.